Welcome to Stupid Builds, where I play chat and comment suggested builds. Pokemon is a game where you collect cute animals and fight them to the death. Destiny is a game where you collect cute guns and fight them to the death. The similarities are boundless. So our first build, which takes this idea to the extreme, immediately caught my interest. Pick a teammate, call him Charmander. Microsoft actually recognizes... Microsoft recognizes Charmander, what the hell? Alright, we really do live in a society. Play the Pokemon trainer for him. This involves Lumina, Crest of Alphalupi, and a Solar Titan. This Charmander I chose, I named Flaccid Snake. He looks like a fine fellow, capable of taking me all the way to the Elite Four. Now, as a quick aside, my goal here is, as per the comment, not to slay out, but to instead, to make our Flaccid Snake play out. To make our Flaccid Snake play out. To make our Flaccid Snake... To make our Flaccid Snake slay out. The problem I immediately encountered is that my Charmander might be a little... special. He kept disobeying his trainer despite me shouting Thunderbolt at him over and over and over again. Never once did he Thunderbolt. He tried making ridiculous engagements I was never going to be able to use a full restore on him to bail him out of. Also, it didn't help that my dumb ass had on the Heart of Inmost Light at first, but that's not the point. We kept on getting spawned away from each other, and despite my best efforts, he just kept dying over and over and over and over again. We had a few good moments, sure, but if this was a Nuzlocke, his ass would absolutely be benched immediately. You know, my favorite part of Pokemon actually was when Ash whipped out his 44 Magnum and started shooting Team Rocket in the face. I'm surprised he doesn't do that more often. It was quite effective. Anyways, my Charmander kept getting his ass kicked and I basically gave up hope for him. That was until I saw the score screen at the end. Our Charmander actually top fragged. So, you know, technically we won, and everyone knows technically winning is the best kind of winning. So I give this build 3.5 Lucarios out of 9 Jigglypuffs. Next was a build from a super chat. Thank you so much for the support, by the way. It feeds me burritos. If you've been around the Destiny block as much as I have, you have seen the double wave build before. It's a bit of a cult classic, like everyone's favorite song, What's New Pussycat? Nah, I'm kidding. That would be offensive towards the build, as we actually kind of kick some ass with it. Gimmick builds like these are, they never promise too much success, but what they do promise is memes. And I'm a man of culture. I prefer memes any day of the week. Surprisingly, the memes exceeded my expectations. No one is expecting a second wave frame grenade launcher to come charging at them, or at least the equivalent of a second wave frame grenade launcher shot. And because we were running the Assassin's Cowl, we got invisibility and health regen on kill, which is just a nice bonus on the top. The wave frame gimmick wasn't terrific, it worked, it was fine, but the payoff was very good when it did work. But what was hard about it is that it was very expensive, both your melee and a special ammo shot in order to make it work. I think the real hero here, quite honestly, was the Fuckleberry and Blink. Aggression with an SMG is like peanut butter and jelly. Easy to predict, but always a staple when you're dealing with a bunch of kids. Rampage and the spinning up rate of fire fucks people up, and with the downright next level cracked movement champion that I am with Blink, this is a combo that is just asking for hate mail. Seriously, I think I broke more ankles than a Razor scooter trick show at an osteoporosis convention. Delicious, devastating, good soup. 4 Campbell's Chunky Noodles out of 13 croutons. I don't think ever used Starfire protocol in PvP outside of passingly before the Solar 3.0 changes. The general rule of thumb for me is if it kicks ass in PvE, it probably sucks in PvP, and Starfire is a staple among the Napalm Distribution Bureau of PvE warlocks. In fact, I had used this so little that I had the pleasure of embarrassing myself on live stream as a self-proclaimed warlock main, as I forgot that empowering us regenerates your solar grenades. Look, there's a lot to keep track of on warlocks, all right? Titans have shit like, oh, you get an extra grenade, and then freaking warlocks is like the list of side effects at the end of a drug commercial. This shit runs off the page. Give me a break. Anyways, Starfire with a Horde for even more zone control, and Homage with Incandescent for even more zone control. This build was freaking magic. You could lay out people like a chloroform perfume department at a local mall. I despise the frequent use of Wither Hordes just as much as the next guy, but there is a good reason to use it. You can just kind of just throw bullshit at people until they stop moving. It's great. And Amit, if you have not seen our Zero to Ascendant videos, is a sleeping horror waiting for just one like haphazard buff to make it into the next meta. Listen, if you're a warlock that doesn't want to think too hard, this build is perfect for you. I give it 1 bottle of Tabasco out of 2 Chipotle burritos. Simplicity sometimes is king, and nothing is simpler than shooting someone in the face. There is something about the exaggerated swagger of a young Bacchus teen that just doesn't get the spotlight like it should. I love builds based around ankle breaking, as you have already seen, so this was a perfect time for me to send an entire preschool to the emergency room. Slugs have also gotten much better with the shotgun reticle changes as well as the range adjustments, which is great for them because you can close the gap with them very easily with the backrest before pulling the trigger. But I am a man of integrity and culture, so I do have to be honest with the flavoring of this build. Comparing this to other builds we've had thus far is definitely the weakest in creativity and flavor. It is always an uphill battle whenever you take a shotgun into a build because of how often you see them, and this one wasn't quite the Skyrim horse it needed to be to really break the mold. Movement, good. Shotgun, effective, but kinda plain at the end of the day. But of course, if you're a backers enjoyer or just want a good setup to close the gap, this will get the job done. We paired this with the pulse rifle and a general setup for your Stasis Hunter, which worked pretty well. I think Stasis Hunter tends to be a little overlooked for its efficacy, as this build is definitely fine. There's nothing wrong with it at all, but I still don't see a lot of Stasis Hunters out there. Definitely give this a shot if you're looking to change things up. I'll give it 2 Frozen themed flutes out of the 1 Emperor's New Groove. That sounds good. There has got to be some kind of term for the simplistic beauty of a Titan. Remember when I talked about how Titan's exotics are just simple? Yeah, so I got to choose my weapons, and I decided to give the old Graviton Lance a try. I will keep holding on to the hope that one day this weapon will cause volatile, but for now, this pulse rifle, scout rifle amalgamation is just fine, I guess. It surprised me for sure, but the bar is so low for this thing that I had to bring a shovel, if you catch my drift. Sentinel Titans frustrate me as well. I always feel like when I'm trying to make a build interesting with them, they keep disappointing me with their simplicity. But as I began to think about it, I think it's the simplicity that makes them unique. Overshield on stuff is really straightforward, but I think it gets the job done and nothing more. No tricks, no gimmicks, just raw value. I may not prefer this playstyle and build crafting layout, but as a warlock of intellectual integrity, it works. It's fine. And Peregrine Greaves are always a solid pick if you're running shoulder charge. So, 14 Death Punks out of 4 Foo Fighters. If you want your build reviewed, subscribe and leave it in the comment below. Bless your faces and deuces.